Hi, I'm Daisy, and I recently finished my long college essay for the Common App, and I found it to be a really big struggle writing about myself and kind of describing who I was in only 500 words. There's a lot of pressure because, this one essay is supposed to tell a college who you are, and it doesn't really give you a lot of space to do that. And I tried a lot of different essays, and none of them were really working. So I was getting frustrated because I didn't know what to do. But I kept trying hard, and I feel like the finished product really helped me learn about who I am. And I'd like to share with you guys kind of what I discovered while I was writing my essay. So it started out uh, with a story of when I was in third grade, and I lived in a really small town and went to a small Catholic school, and I was super comfortable and in my own perfect little world. I didn't want anything to change, but my parents told me that for my fourth grade year I would be going to a small independent school. And I flipped. I did not want to change schools. I didn't even hint or ask about changing schools. And I felt betrayed by my parents just because they were taking me out of a place where it was easy to be in. I didn't really have to work that hard to fit in. So out of my angst, I created an acronym for my new school, and I called it the BBOP, the Big Bowl of Puke. Um, but in my college essay, I changed it to the BBOH, just and it stands for the Big Bowl of Horrible, just because I thought puke would be a little gruesome to read about. And in hindsight, looking back at this whole situation, I know what I was afraid of. It wasn't just the change, but it was also a fear of being rejected. And it completely shut me off to seeing anything um, positive that could come of this. So that whole entire summer, I was extremely upset, and I was just really anxious waiting for that first day of school. When it finally arrived, my eyes kind of opened up to something that was completely different. And within the first couple weeks, my perspective began to shift. My fear and resentment started to fade away, and everyone at my new school embraced me with open arms. I saw all of this diversity that surrounded me every single day, and I really wanted to take the opportunity to learn about my friends' cultures and religions, and it kind of made it seem worth it to be there. It was worthwhile. So this is kind of when my preconceived notion that MBS was horrible started to go away, and it was after I began experiencing the situation that I was in. So from then on, I just kind of decided to dive into scary situations with no fear and a positive attitude. And, this might seem a little naive, but I'm perfectly aware that not every situation is going to turn out great. That's not realistic. It's impossible. But why waste energy and time worrying about something that could potentially happen? Why not embrace these scary changes as an opportunity to experience and learn something real? So after my whole BBOH event, I realized that the fear that I had felt before going into this school and actually experiencing something almost kept me from really amazing opportunities. I could have stayed closed off. I might not have ever made an effort to make friends with people that are my best friends today. Um, and the whole experience kind of ignited within me a desire to live my life with no reservations. And it's kind of cool how starting my essay, I was really frustrated and I didn't know what to do. Um, and looking back in the fourth grade, it's kind of come full circle. After the initial attempts to write my essays and the struggles, um, it was really hard to keep a positive attitude, but I didn't let my fear of writing something horrible get in the way of doing what I needed to do. Because this college essay, it's really important. And, um, I wasn't going to let a fear of failing keep me from writing something that really described who I was. And I really took this opportunity to learn about myself and experience what was actually going on with me. And I think it's a really good way to approach change because it allows you to really experience something for what it is. I encourage people to go out and try not to be afraid of something different because that mindset could prevent someone from experiencing something truly spectacular. Thanks.